So I'm Lisa Rice. I am the project manager on the industry intermediary contract, which is with Safal Partners, which is what we are bringing to you all today to let you know about. Our project director was supposed to be stepping into this, Katie Adams. However, she is in a very, very noisy airport at this time, which she didn't expect to have happen. But we all know how travel goes, and you suddenly find yourself delayed on a flight, right? So that's what ended up happening with her. So I'm thrilled to be here with you guys and to be able to just kind of go through all of these things. Christian, if you'll go ahead and advance us, I'll kind of start us in on everything here. And so we really want to make sure that everyone that watches this or that's on with us right now understands what a registered apprenticeship program is about and understands that this is a proven method. It's new to IT and cybersecurity type of industry and employers there, but it is definitely a proven method for how you can train new hires, how you can upskill your current employees, and really it is also a good way for you to be able to find more diverse talent. We know that folks in the IT and cybersecurity world oftentimes are looking for someone with a ton of experience and a ton of credentials and everything, but we also all know that that's not necessarily readily available. Apprenticeship is a way for you to build that person that you select and build them up with the critical skills, the knowledge that you as the employer say you really need. Next slide, please. So there's a lot of things about apprenticeship that brings you tons of benefits. I know that a lot of times one of the things that we hear from employers is they say, well, I really don't want the government being involved. Well, guess what? We have a method where you don't have to have that. We are definitely funded by USDOL to be this intermediary, but what that means is that everything we do doesn't cost you as an employer a single penny. So take advantage of it, because guess what? Your tax dollars help pay for this stuff. So one of the benefits that we bring to you is that we actually are able to help you structure a method for filling your workforce needs, whether that's I want to take Sally from this level up, or I want to hire a whole new person in. We are able to actually help you with that in a structured methodology that you'll know that they're getting the related training experience that they need that applies to their on-the-job learning. So they're actually able to take what they're learning, apply it with you in the workplace. We also are able to help you access federal and state resources. And that's one of the reasons why we're so nicely paired up with the Workforce Board and the Workforce Solutions Center, because we are considered an eligible training provider in the state of Texas. So that means that if you're looking for a new hire, the Workforce Board, the workforce system, can actually help pay if the candidate is qualified for some of their on-the-job training dollars. So it's a win-win kind of braiding of funds that we can bring to you, and that's why we work so closely in partnership with our workforce system. In addition to that, we have knowledge of other grants, other funds that are available that could potentially be used when you're ready to say, okay, I want to hire someone, or I want someone to move up. So we just basically sit here and talk with you and have lots of concierge type services to understand what you need, and then figure out how do we get you access to federal funds, the state resources, plus also access to all of our training and capabilities that we have. Everything that we're doing is intended to help you expand the talent pool that you have. And by expanding the talent pool, what I mean is bringing in more people who have diversity for you. It's a big thing right now. Bringing in people who are fresh out of training, who are eager and interested and and just have amazing backgrounds already. And Leah is going to talk to you a little bit later about some of those candidates. And I think you're going to see this is kind of a cool thing that we have going here. The other thing that we're really trying to make sure is that all of our training is very flexible. And what I mean by that is that it's actually geared towards what you need. So you as the employer get to say, I want them to know about A, B, and C. Now the menu of classes may go all the way to Z, and you may say, I don't need those. So that's fine. We just work with you on the training that you need to be able to produce the types of skills that you need in your workplace. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, we are on the eligible training provider list, and part of the reason we're on that is because we do have a national registered apprenticeship program that covers cyber and tech occupations. Separate from that, so we did that all on our own little thing, but separate from that, we were awarded this intermediary contract, and it is all about us helping employers expand their talent pool through apprenticeships. And so we help you. We do paperwork for you. We help you determine your curriculum. And what I mean by that is we give you like a menu, and you get to look at the menu, and just like you do in a restaurant, you pick, I want fries here and I want a hamburger over here. You get to do the same kind of thing with the occupations. I want this and I want that. So we make everything as simple as we possibly can. And then we also have with us, which Leah is with the Cyber Future Foundation, and we'll talk a bit more about some of their stuff too. But we have our national partner of Cyber Future Foundation, and part of the things that they are bringing to us are employers that are definitely in need of the skills and the talents, but they're also bringing to us that industry knowledge. So we understand you from the industry perspective. It's not like we're all sitting over here and don't speak your language. I will tell you, I do not speak your language. Leah speaks your language. Thank God for that. But I can speak the workforce language, and I can speak the language of what does that apprenticeship look like and how do we make it work. All right, next slide, please. So we have quite a few benefits that come from our program when you join up with us. And the very first one is you don't have to set up your own registered apprenticeship program. You just join right in onto our nationally approved program. That's literally you signing one piece of paper. So that's not too hard to do. You just look at that and you say, yep, I want to be a part of these. I like your standards that you have there. Standards, by the way, means the courses, the occupations that we offer. If you look at it and you go, well, I want a different occupation. Okay, we get that occupation added for you. So as long as it falls in cyber and tech, IT type of stuff. We have a no cost, emphasis on no cost, industry vetted related instruction that is provided for cyber and IT occupations. So we have joined with a partner, Cybrary, who is able to help us provide all of this training, no cost to you as the employer, online. It has virtual labs in it. It has ways for you to track things. And Christian Lagarde is going to go through more of that in just a little bit for you to be able to see this learning platform. The other part is that we are also providing mentoring, which is something that's very unusual. Most of the time, an industry intermediary just says, you got to have a mentor at your workplace, right? Well, we already know that some of the smaller companies may not have that expertise or that capacity to provide that mentor. Now, you still have to have somebody who signs off and says, yes, they work so many hours. Yes, I can see that they're applying their competencies here. You have to have someone like that at the work site. But the mentoring piece is a huge piece that's coming from our partner, Cyber Future Foundation, and you'll hear more about that in a bit too. The other part is that because of what we've been doing and how we've been connecting with women, minorities in cybersecurity, veterans organizations all across the nation, we are actually bringing you different sources of talent, including workforce board talent as well. We know that the workforce boards have lots of people who are interested in the cyber and IT area, and they would like to move into these fields. They are prime candidates for you guys to use for those apprenticeships. And the final thing is we actually have incentive funding as well. And so that incentive funding is $300 per apprentice that you sign on. So you have to hire somebody or say, hey, I'm going to upskill Sally. We say, great. We register her as an apprentice. We do that. Okay. You don't have to do it. And boom, you're going to get paid your $300. Those three, I know it's not a lot. I know it's not like 3,000, but it can help cover a certification testing piece that they might have. If you have someone who's going to be doing some mentoring with them, it could cover some of their wages there as well. So you need to use the 300 somehow in conjunction with that apprentice, but it's pretty loose how you use it. The only thing that you can't do is you cannot use it on their wages. Okay. All right, next slide, please. So we know that there's a whole bunch of occupations out there that are needed in the cyber and IT world. This is merely a sampling of the types of occupations that we can actually help you with on your training. So anything from that cybersecurity analyst to someone that's doing the help desk kind of role, data analysts. We have one that we are actually helping produce the standards for right now, and that is a penetration tester. So that one will be available shortly. Anything like this, if you say, well, I don't see the occupation that I need, talk to us because we have it. And we can certainly, help you with saying, well, I want to add some customization to it for my employer. That's cool. We'll do that. Next slide. And now we get to go to Leah. Leah.
Okay. I actually want to take a step back and try to address Chris's questions and clarify a few things for what Lisa presented. And yes, as she mentioned, I'm with Cyber Future Foundation working really closely with the Safal team. And so I come from the industry, Chris. I speak your language on IT and cybersecurity. I've been in your roles before, consulting for customers, et cetera. And so a few things. Okay, an MSP, managed service provider. Yep, that was my world before October of last year, joining in here on these initiatives. So think of it too for apprenticeship as, because I think there are a lot of myths out there in terms of some folks where it's just a misunderstanding, but apprenticeship at its very nature, it's training and upskilling, right? So it can be for entry level, most certainly. It can be for career transitioners, maybe those folks who had years in business already and are good mid-management folks, but they just need more training and skilling in IT and cybersecurity. It can be for a range of levels. That is how flexible it is. It could be for folks that you already have as employees. Maybe you need to just upskill them or do cybersecurity awareness so that they have more knowledge in cybersecurity as they're if they're transitioning and working with customers, IT and cyber teams. So there are many different ways we can do this. And the training is Lisa provided. So what happens is any employee that you register as an apprenticeship or in your program as an apprentice, again, it can be an existing employer, does not matter the level that they are. It can be a new hire or an intern, et cetera. It can be your current staff as consultants, and or it can be if you work with other companies as you likely service other companies and customers, it can be to help train them as well. And yes, we do have an employer right now that we work with that does that very model. They're actually an MSSP. And so you would get basically funding per apprentice. So the more people you put into the program, the more funding you get. Now that funding is yours to keep. You can do anything you want with it other than apply it to salaries. In addition, you have that access to Cyber training for free. We can also work with you if you have to customize any training or you'd like additional type of training and upskilling, we can help work with you on that as well. We do source talent. We can provide you talent. We've got many the folks that we have pre-qualified and pre-assessed. And again, they're all levels in their careers. So some are just out of college, some have completed their master's program, some are career transitioning, they've been in IT and they're moving into cybersecurity. So you name it, we have various types of talents. We have them that we work with a number of schools, universities, different organizations like minorities in cybersecurity to provide the diverse talent that you would be looking for. So it's just all based on your requirements. Next slide. And then because we've recognized, and I've been in this position myself as a hiring manager, that it's hard for me to, hiring managers to spend all their time mentoring when they have 50 other things that they're doing on top of their day job. So that is why we've created Society of Mentors as a way to help, right? So this is essentially a group of folks who are in the industry, leaders at their own companies who are volunteering their time to be a mentor. And so that your employees who would like mentorship, especially if they're entry level or younger, can tap into these mentors. Again, this is all part of the program. It's no additional fee. And then we basically have a online secure platform in which they can access to meet up with the mentors, schedule time, have access to a number of other materials and workshops and events and collective podcasts, et cetera. Again, all there to serve as a resource for them so that they are constantly learning and evolving their skills and have a trusted online InfoSec cybersecurity forum, if you will. So if they get stuck on something that they're working on technically and they need to talk to their peer about, hey, I need some advice. I built this lab and need help here, whatnot. They have that group that they can use this as a resource, basically. Next slide. And I think this is where I hand it over to Christian, but Cyber is who we mentioned before as one of our partners that provides the training. And it's essentially, it can be curriculums that are built out per occupation, and or you can customize what courses you want and what type of what topics that are, again, customized for that specific individual. So if it's just cybersecurity awareness, but not necessarily for a cybersecurity analyst, we can put that together. We also have, that there's courses for risk and compliance. There's, like Lisa said earlier, it's a menu of options. It's just what works for you, and that's what we do. And I think next slide is Christian and team. Or I can cover this too.
So
Yeah,
I
if you
was
wanna-
going to say, actually, why don't we back up and let Christian take us through, Christian Lagarde, take us
Okay.
through the Cyber demo that you have.
Sure.
Does that sound good?
Sure. No, great. Chris,
Perfect.
and all great to meet you all. So let me jump to exactly what Leah is talking about. And it's this customization component. So I'm going to steal the screen, if you don't mind, from you, Leah, and Christian, other Christian.
Other Christian.
So Chris, what you're looking at right now is our dashboard in Cyber, and this is the Safal Partners dashboard. What you see here is sort of like, the learning hours, the learning activity interactions, all of which I'm going to explain and describe in a second. I guess my question for you, Chris, is do you know about CyberArray? Have you seen it before? Have you used it before? And I know you're only using the chat, so I'm looking at the chat just to make sure to give the thumbs up or thumbs down if you're familiar with it or not. And what I definitely want to do is show that customization that Leah was talking about for you. And anyone else that could be listening to this recording in the future, I do want to make sure that that is covered. So what you're seeing and what I want to show you in CyberArray is what the breadth and depth of what CyberArray offers. So within CyberArray, there are tons of career pathways, all customized, all vetted, all validated by the industry. And it's everything from a COC analyst to a system administrator to a pen tester to let me open up so you can see all of them here. Network engineer, cybersecurity engineer, incident handler. All these are customized again by curriculum designers and industry experts within the field. However, as Leah was just talking about, there are elements of customization. And this is where we get and sort of where we work with you and with CyberArray to do these customizable features. For example, we designed all three of these customized for an employer partner. So the cybersecurity analyst, the cybersecurity COC, we added content, we added courses inside of CyberArray. There's asynchronous courses, there's virtual labs, and there are prep tests for examination. So for those, I see Chris saying, not familiar with CyberArray, but it looks like other dashboards, Acronis and Sophia. And so I'm not even going to say that word. I'm going to mess it up if I say it. Similar to that, Chris, the way there's dashboards, so you can see sort of what's happening within your organization, what are the learnings, what's happening, who's taking what courses, those sorts of things, who's completing such. But just drawing your attention to this section here, this path for Avid solution. So AS Peoria wanted a certain specific type of content, and we can do that. So there's nothing we can't do. There's nothing we can't add. As you see, what they wanted customized, they started right out the gate with A+, because they wanted that as part of their training. That is not what we've seen in some of the other ones in COC, in some of the other cybersecurity. The first CompTIA course and the first CompTIA exam is of course going to be Security Plus, but they wanted A+ in theirs. They added Java programming, JavaScript, etc. So we could do and customize it to whatever is needed, whatever courses, whatever content. If you don't take something off the shelf, like we just showed in these sort of in the custom paths, and those ones that I showed a second ago are just an example. You can see how small this little scroll bar is, and all these, and each one of these are career paths. Some of them range from 120 hours to some are 300 hours. Some are longer. Becoming a CISO, becoming a cybersecurity engineer, cloud engineer, etc. All the way down to there's some DoD career pathways as well. So the breadth and depth of what CyberArray offers us as an intermediary and to their employer partners is enormous. And so I guess, Chris, I'm gonna slow down there and see if you have any questions, since this is your first look at it, to see if you have any. And I see Leah putting in some things in the chat. But yeah, Chris, any thoughts or questions that you have about this component of our related technical training, or the RTIs as we call it, before we move on to the next thing? Or any questions from the rest of the group? Since we know that this is being recorded and other employers are going to be looking at it, any questions for the rest of the group on the call about CyberArray and what it can do or what it could do for employer partners? Cool. I see Chris is saying no, it looks pretty straightforward, and it is. One other element which was brought up on a call with Department of Labor yesterday, as we did a signing ceremony with a company out of Texas, was the other component of our training. And I know we're short on time, so I'm just going to give you a glimpse at what we have. But what you're seeing here on your screen now is our learning management system. So everything that we're doing within the training that you're about to see and what I'm going to explain, everything that you see in CyberArray is all built under and sort of housed under our roof of our learning management system. So this training, as we're calling it, the Safal CFF Cyber and IT Registered Apprenticeship Program. And within it, within the LMS, there's other components as well. And the other components are employability skills and soft skills. We felt it beneficial, and Department of Labor felt that there was some value with adding some components of soft skills, which we have listed here as business and leadership, RTI. Within each of the modules, within each of the components of this LMS, there's several topics that we wanted to instill in the apprentice. We started the module number 1 with time management, as now they're working and they're taking courses and they're learning and they have life, etc. So we wanted to ensure that time management was right out the gate. So within each one of these modules, there's a link to Cyber, as you see here, and then a different topic for each module. This one, module number 1, is about time management. We talk about the learning objectives. They sign on to the course. They upload their certificate. So we keep track of it. You then, as an employer, can see what your apprentices have completed as they move on. And then we add things from time to time, like events and webinars. Here, there's a cybersecurity resume writing workshop that Lisa, when you open up that video, you see Lisa's right out the gate. But with some experts talking about what a resume needs should look like, how is it different than other industries and other sectors. So from time to time, we'll be doing events like that we'll be posting on the LMS. We'll be adding it to the calendar feature, which is in our LMS, which you see here. So anybody who's logged in will be able to see, and this populates those events so they can register for them. And from time to time, from month to month, we'll be doing things like that. That, in a nutshell, is what we're doing within our learning management system, and then with our partnership with Cyber, what we can do, what we have, and all the curriculum that's baked into Cyber. Any questions from the field before I pass it back off to Leah?
Sure, and I guess if Jean's still on, go ahead and jump in. But then how it works, right? Thank you for the kind words, Chris, on chat. Well, it is a Friday afternoon, so I don't know. Maybe people are still out traveling, but yes, how it works. So again, if you don't want to deal with the Department of Labor and government, which we totally get, that is fine. You can join into Safal's program, and then that just means that we assume all of the heavy lifting and work to save you on time and take care of that for you. Again, we provide you with incentive funding per employee that you put as an apprentice and or new hire at no cost, and that includes the Cyber training. Then we do have some requirements, right? And it's pretty straightforward. And again, you can weigh in on specificities that work for you and the roles that you have, and who would like to go through this. But essentially, that we do require the training for 144 hours of the related instruction. However, and again, this is where we walk through these things with you, that when you look at everything that's required, if there are already things that are applicable to the job role that they've done, or certifications they've acquired, or other training they do, you can count all of that to the 144 hours. So that's pretty flexible. And then we have, it usually is about a 12-month program. Sometimes it goes longer. So there's like a required set of hours that goes to it. But again, if you have full-time employees going through this, that's probably a no-brainer, and that just gives them a longer period of time to go through the courses within Cyber, for example. But for you as the employer, you determine those qualifications. If you need help hiring and sourcing talent, we can help with that. But it's ultimately, we refer them to you. It's still up to you to put them through your interview process and figure out if you do want to hire them. It's up to you on the salaries that you provide and any benefits that you give them. That's all stays in your control. I don't know if I'm missing anything else, Jean or Lisa.
I don't think I heard you say that there is one wage increase that needs to happen somewhere within all of this.
Only if they are, that usually applies to a new hire. If you bring them in at entry level, and depending on that wage, because if you're already paying a salary that's above what that hourly rate wages and if they're salaried, that in most cases will not apply. But Jean, keep me honest on that part.
And I will do that simply because I promised Christian I would be here, and I am still here. So that is true. When an apprenticeship program is set up, an entry level and at least a completion level wages are set, and they're set up front so that that apprentice will know exactly what they're working for. If they're already making more than that, then it's kind of a moot point. But they're really set up for that new hire that you might be bringing in, that you bring in at a reduced rate because they don't have all the skills you want. But at the end of the day, when they do have all the skills you want, they would be they would get that increase, which you have factored in from day one. So.
And when we say you factored it in, we mean you decide the amount. It's not
employer.
Decided for you.
The employer, that's right. As long as it's minimum wage, it's not decided for you.
Right. Okay. So Chris, I don't know if you have any other questions for us. And I would say too, if Christian wants to go to the next slide, you can certainly, anybody who sees this can reach out to Katie, or thank you very much, Leah. You can reach to myself or Christian as well, and Leah, of course, too. So anyone who's watching the recorded version, it's pretty easy. It's just our first name dot last name at Safal Partners. So Lisa Rice, Leah McLean, and Christian Lagarde. We're all available to help you, or Katie is also available to help you out in any way, shape, or form. So we're hoping that you get to view this and that you'll get to share this widely from our wonderful workforce partners here. And thank you very much, Chris, for joining us. I'm glad you were impressed. Go tell others, right?